Okay, so this is BlackBerry. Okay, this is what we mentioned, BlackBerry, and it does have an encryption. Okay, within their BlackBerry enterprise server. Right. Another thing, another interesting thing I have worked on. Another project I have worked on in Nokia is we think this thing we call it SVG, scalable vector graphics. So at that time, here can I ask you one more question? Had any one of you used Nokia phones before? I mean, it's the traditional phones. So you have experienced that time, right? So at that time, if you think about back around that time, when you use the Nokia traditional phones, do you notice those icons? Do you notice those icons? Those icons are different from what we have today in our phones. One particular difference is that those icons can move. They can move, okay? They are like animated icon. Okay? Today in our phones, I don't think the icons we can move, right? At least I checked mine, those icons they are not moving, right? But at that time, if we think back around that time, those icons they can actually move. And how can they move have something to do with this technology called SVG, scalable vector graphics. It's kind of different from I think we are all familiar with this, right? PNG and GIF, all those things, right? So we all know what those type of files are, right? JPEG, right? GIF and all kind of thing. SVG is different from this. It's okay. First of all, SVG it allows you to show up those icons. Okay, so that's the same thing. But the one major difference between this and that is if you try to open up a JPEG, what would it look like? Okay, let me show you. If I can have it here. If we have any picture, here. Okay, unfortunately we don't have a picture, but I can try to create a picture real quick. Right? Suppose if I take a picture here. All right, maybe I will just. All right. If we save this image, right? If we save this image as a JPEG, if we try to open it with a like say Notepad, right, or something like that, what would you guess it would happen? What would happen if you try to open it with a let's say a Notepad? We send it to a Notepad. Have you tried that? Had anyone tried it? Okay, so it's not all that adventurous, right? We try to open it with a. I try to open it. Okay, here's my Notepad. Here's my Notepad, all right? And if I'm trying to open it, what do you see here? Just do it like this, right? So maybe your homework is go home and try to open your GIF or JPEG picture. It looks like this, okay? But what would the SVG look like? Right? The SVG is. Okay, and SVGs look like this. What does it look like? Does it look familiar to you? It's kind of look like HTML. Okay, except this is not HTML, this is XML. This is XML, but they are kind of similar in some sense. So when you open up a SVG file, what will you see is this. It's text, all right? It's text. So what does that mean is SVG is kind of different from our traditional picture in that this technology, well, first of all, it's not binary. This is what we call a binary, but this is the text. So the way that we display those pictures has something to do with this browser. This, what we see on the screen is actually a browser, just like web browser. So through the browser, and you give the SVG file, which would tell the browser how it can display this picture, right? And SVG also allow animation, also allows this picture to be moving, to be rotating, or do whatever, right? So that's SVG. And this is another project I'm working on at Nokia. And talking about Nokia, this Nokia is a company based in Finland. Nokia has this particular culture called sisu. And those Finns, okay, the people in Finland, Finns are very proud of their sisu culture. And what's sisu culture? It's not a, see if I have, okay, let me read out. What's sisu, okay? What is this term sisu? Sisu is a term that can be translated into like strength of will, determination, perseverance, acting rationally in the face of adversity. Okay, so they are very proud of their sisu culture. Okay, so just think about this. Finland, like I mentioned earlier, where is Finland located at? Where is border? The border, Russia, right? On one side, right? East is Russia, and west is what? Close, but another country called Sweden. Sweden, right? It's bordered between two large countries. Okay, at least Russia is quite large. Okay, and back in World War II, actually, Russia tried to invade Finland, but Finns fought back. They fought Russia, and how large is Russia? It's huge. Okay, it's very huge, right? So Finns, they fought back, all right. But later they reached some sort of treaty. Okay, and then Finns have to give out some land, but at least they preserve their independence. Okay, so Finland it's an independent country. Okay, so when that back in the good old days, the what we call the Cold War era. Okay, a lot of countries they are in what we call a Soviet bloc, but not Finland. Finland remain a independent country. Okay, and that's their culture. So they are proud of this. They fought back. They live in a very harsh weather. Okay, it was so cold. It's so cold in Finland, right? And the life conditions now like great in Finland. So they are so proud. They are so proud of this culture. So that's what we say. Or another way to say is having guts. Okay, if you have guts, you can face the adversity. You can overcome the adversity. That's what they call it, sisu culture. Another thing I noticed in Nokia is like they are very dedicated to their family. So I remember like when I was over in Finland, I was there, for entire month. At that time, I was working on system integration. And what I noticed that my coworkers, a lot of them, they would left the company after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So after 4, you don't see many people in the office because many of them left. And why they left? Because they're dedicated to their work, but at the same time, they also care about their family. All right, because they say, okay, I want to leave early so I can take my kids to do skiing or to do some traveling or do something like that. So they're very dedicated people, but at the same time, they care about their family. And another thing like to another thing I noticed that probably a lot of companies doesn't do this is that especially this is quite noticeable as their parking lot. Their parking lot, they don't have a parking space reserved for their CEO or for their vice president or for their whatever. There's no signs, typically in some other company you will have a parking space that reserved for like CEO or for the director or for whatever. Not in Nokia. They don't have such thing. So that means they treat people like equal. And they always like to say, okay, the CEOs always like to say, okay, if you have any question, any problem, just stop by. Just knock on the door and stop by. Okay, talk to me. And that's their culture. Okay, maybe have something to do with their national culture, right? Everyone's the same, right? Everyone's the same. That's how they see it. All right. Another thing, particular about Nokia is like they like their sauna. They like sauna. So they have sauna. So we know sauna is, right? Okay, let me show you. This is sauna. This is the sauna. A sauna is like, you get there to get sweat, to get sweaty, right? To get sweaty and to get hot. And then what they do is that here we have see a hot rock. So you pour the water onto hot rock. And so the entire room got really steamy, it got really hot, right? And you sweat a lot, right? You sweat for about 5-10 minutes, then you go jump into a pool, okay? The pool is like, the water is really, it's a cold water pool, okay? You jump there, and then you swing a little bit, and then you come back here, and you get sweaty again, okay? So somehow they love this kind of thing, okay? So a lot of business, a lot of agreement was actually achieved inside sauna. From what I always heard, they like to talk about business. They think that here you can be honest with each other, okay? Because you don't dress a lot in sauna, okay? You don't dress a lot, right? So you can be more honest with each other in the sauna, okay? So that's their particular culture, right? And they have their own value. So initially when I joined, they have a abbreviated CARE. Customer satisfaction, achievement, respect for individual, and endless learning. Okay, so this is their corporate value. Later they changed the last one to renewal, but initially this is their corporate value. So you can see that customer satisfaction is at the very top of their list. Then achievement, respect for individual, and this kind of thing. So that's so we do wear this like with our badge at that time. So that is their mission and vision. Okay, their vision is life goes mobile. Okay, so you don't see like a very long mission statement. You don't see a very long vision statement. It's very simple. Life goes mobile. Okay. Mission is what connecting people. Okay. You want to connect all people together, and this are all the values here. And here we have our corporate strategy. Okay, we divide them into, at that time, they divide them into mobile phones, multimedia, business, enterprise, and then network. This is the infrastructure. Okay, so so that's their strategy. They divide into, and then there's one more, enterprise solution. So the things we mentioned earlier about like push email, those things, those are like for when they means enterprise solution. Like they try to come up with a solution especially for business users. So they have special unit particularly for this. And for this multimedia, that time they think about doing something that relates to multimedia like gaming. So one time Nokia bought this Japanese company called, not Nintendo, another one. You know, you played this when you were a kid? Sonic, have you heard about this character, Sonic the Hedgehog? This game was actually developed by a company called Sega. Okay? And Nokia, at one time, I don't know about now, but at that time they bought this company called Sega. And they tried to put gaming on mobile phones. But unfortunately it didn't achieve the objective, okay? It failed, okay? I think it failed miserably. But at that time they tried to do this. Alright, so life in Nokia, okay. I don't know if I have time to, maybe because I want you to do this exercise. Maybe I'll save this for later, right? Maybe what I want you to do, since you have divided into groups before, right? This is what I want you to do is, here I have a story, okay? So you can open up you can go up to your e-learning website, or you can take a look at this here. And let me ask you, any Boy Scout or Girl Scout here in this class? Girls, okay? Because if you know your survival skill, you may help with this exercise, right? But if not, then okay, good luck. Okay. Okay. So what we want to do for the rest of the time, which is not all that much, maybe we'll continue next week, is what we call a wilderness survival. Okay. And let me give you the background story about the wilderness survival. Okay, the idea about this is to teach you about group decision making, okay, or try to help you understand the group decision making. You know, because like this group decision making is quite important in the company, right? You want to get everyone's consensus. All right, so we can first divide into the group. And then, well, this will require 1.5 hours. We don't have that much time. Then you can take a look at this. Well, you can open it up. The PDF is on the e-learning, or you can take a look at this on the screen here. So you are going to have this wilderness survival worksheet, and what you want to do is, okay, first of all, I need to explain this activity to you, right? Basically, you're going to see this, let's see, where's that here? Okay, here's the wilderness survival kit and worksheet, okay. So you're going to read a story, right? A setting. You're going to put yourself into a setting, right? And what you want to do is, after you read this story, then you want to answer the question to the best of your ability, okay? So don't worry about it if you don't have that wilderness skill, okay? but the most important thing is how your group achieve the consensus. That's the most important thing, okay? So let me explain this wilderness survival worksheet to you. There are like 12 questions concerning the personal survival in a wilderness situation, okay? So your first task is to individually to select the best of the 3 alternatives under each item. So basically you have 3 choices, okay? 3, so you have multiple choices. You're trying to choose the best out of those 3, okay? And first of all, when we get started, the first thing is like trying to choose those selection by yourself, okay? By yourself, okay? You hear me, right? Don't go into group mode yet. Try to choose the answer to the best of your ability, okay? By yourself first. So after every member in your group had complete this task, then at that time, when everyone have completed their answering, then you discuss, try to choose the best, okay, the best answer out of those selection here, okay, as a group, okay. So you understand it's kind of like two-step procedure. The first step, choose the answer by yourself. Second step, choose the answer as a group, okay. All right, so that's how we do it. All right, so your group will have the task. Your subgroup, okay, your subgroup will have the task of deciding by consensus the best alternative for each question. So do not change your individual answer. All right, don't change it. Okay, you still keep your individual answer. Okay, even though you change your minds in the subgroup discussion. So both the individual and group solutions will later be compared with the correct answers provided by me. Okay, we conduct this wilderness survival. All right. The idea is about team building. So when you are discussing, trying to reach the best solution, one thing you probably don't want to do is using the voting method. Okay. Try not to use the voting method because that's kind of defeat the whole purpose. Try to persuade. So that's why it takes time, okay? If you want to persuade other people to accept your point of view, it's not easy, okay? But think how you can try it. Okay, try to have others to accept your point of view. Okay, from this exercise, all right? So this exercise, so the questions are here, okay? So okay, let me see if we have a setting here. Okay, well, so basically trying to answer those 12 questions. Okay, don't, I didn't delete the answer, so, but don't read the answer, right? I realized I didn't delete the answer, but the answer is there, but don't read it yet, okay? Try to answer, okay, those questions, but, to the best of your ability. So the first question is like, okay, you have strayed from your party in the trackless timber, and you have no special signaling equipment. The best way to attempt to contact your friends to do what? And you have 3 choices. Choose the best out of those. Okay? So for example. So, okay, so I'll allow you to read those questions. And if you have any question, if you don't understand, maybe say one particular question, just let me know, okay? I will try my best to explain it to you. And so again, provide your answer first, all right? Provide your answer first, and then later discuss as a group after all your members are done with it. All right? Is that clear? Any questions?
Are we going to do it today or?
Well, we can start now. Yeah, but, okay, but don't think it as a homework, okay? It's not homework, it's just, I think that's the best thing, and don't read the answer, okay? I realize that the answer is there, but don't read it, okay? The most important thing is how you go through the consensus process, right? So we can start now, but if you have any questions, this looks like we are not going to complete today, but we can start now and pick it up next week. And don't try to use the ChatGPT or anything. Just it's just a group exercise. Just think of it as this. We're not taking that seriously. So. Understand what we're doing now? Any questions? Okay, just say if you don't have your phone with you, if you move down to some other questions, just let me know, okay? I can move the screen down to some other questions. You see that? Oh, here. We can see if you can try to answer those questions, completely answering those questions as an individual today, and then next week you can discuss it as a group. Because as a group, you probably take time to answer those, to convince your other group member to accept your point of view. So. So actually, I went to a training course, and in that training course, that course, it costs about at least 10,000 Taiwanese dollars. Okay, and one of the exercises they do is similar like this. Okay, so now we kind of take the 10,000 course, the course contents and move it to here. Okay. Find those questions difficult to answer or okay? Yeah, realize then we probably need to have a boy or girl scout here. That's not the issue. That's not the purpose here. You don't necessarily have to demonstrate your ability to survive in the wilderness, right?
In our ourselves, anyway.